promise I've been praying for. Like I hold on to every garment, won't surrender, not tonight. The shadow rises and walks through the valley, but I won't let nothing take my heart away. I recognize the powers as they rally, call the names, I break them one by one and face to face. And I hear the voice of an angel telling me not to lay down. And I feel the spirit guiding, telling me not to give up. Hold on to every promise I've been praying for. Like I hold on to every garment, won't surrender, not tonight. Won't surrender, not tonight. Won't surrender, not tonight. Darling, I've been tempted by the darkness, telling me that I should throw it all away. Fight so hard, my heart is hardly helpless. Find myself so desperate on my knees to break. And I hear the voice of an angel telling me not to lay down. And I feel the spirit guiding, telling me not to give up. Hold on to every promise I've been praying for. Like I hold on to every garment, won't surrender, not tonight. myself so desperate on my knees to break. And I hear the voice of an angel telling me not to lay down. And I feel the spirit guiding, telling me not to give up. Hold on to every promise I've been praying for at night. I hold on to every garment, won't surrender, not tonight. The shadow rises and I walk through the valley, but I won't let nothing take my heart away. I recognize the powers as they rally. Call the names, I break them one by one and face to face. And I hear the voice of an angel telling me not to lay down. And I feel the spirit guiding, telling me not to give up. Hold on to every promise I've been praying for at night. I hold on to every garment, won't surrender, not tonight. Won't surrender, not tonight. Won't surrender, not tonight. Darling, I've been tempted by the darkness, telling me that I should throw it all away. Fight so hard, my heart is hardly helpless. Find myself.
Going in head to head to see who can come out on top, although one of them has a very slight big advantage. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box to round off his 100% appearance in TT Masters League this season, it's the fantastic, the wonderful, the amazing Mr. James Head. James, season finale, it's been coming for quite some time, 11 weeks of great racing, and here we are in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, to round off the season. I can't think of a better way to do it.
It's a fantastic way to end off the season, I think, being in Brazil. Of course, remember back in 2008, Hamilton and Massa? We might get that tonight.
We could indeed, you never know. Well, at the moment here, let's have a look at the driver's standings, because Medium Pilot is leading the way heading into this race on 201 points. Perpetuum is in second place on 174, and that's going to be a huge battle between them. We hear that Kalsper is unfortunately not going to be with us tonight, so unfortunately that rules him out of the championship hunt. And as you can see, the rest of the top 10, Josh in fourth place, Recon in fifth, Bianchi sixth, Legend seventh, Killer Blue in 8th, Neo in 9th, and Nathan rounding out that top 10. Now, from my calculations, because we are realistically only have one Ferrari in Recon, that is going to mean that before this race has even started, Mercedes could be crowned champions in the Constructors on 325 points compared to Ferrari's 283. Now, you work that out because if there's only one Ferrari, they can only score a maximum of 33 points. So obviously with 283 added onto that is maths. It's actually 316, I know that one. So it wouldn't be enough to catch or even overtake Mercedes. So if Ferrari only have one driver in this race, then that is the season decided for the Constructors' Championship. And of course, we head to Sao Paulo. It's one of those that drivers love to end a season at. I think they prefer to end a season here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. 36 laps around here, 4.309 kilometres with a race distance of around 155.1 kilometres. And James, it's one of those circuits that's an absolute classic. I can't find a driver that doesn't like this track.
It is, of course, one of the most classic tracks I think you could probably have on the modern F1 calendar. It has been the precedence that we've had some championship battles going here in the past, as I've already alluded to. 2008, Hamilton, Massa. Hopefully we might get something like that tonight, but I am quite worried about the constructor standing, certainly, because Perpetuum is here in the Mercedes. Medium Pilot is here also for the Drivers' Championship, so both of them are here to fight it out. But Ferrari look like they have no drivers whatsoever, so Recon is not here at the moment. That means Mercedes will be crowned champions before we even get underway.
For definite, yeah, that's absolutely true. So obviously they need both drivers here to have a chance of trying to claim at that constructors title. If they only have one driver, then that's the championship over there, right there, because the maximum they could score is 33 points. Speaking of scoring points, of course, if you've only just tuned into this season, where have you been? It's been a fantastic season. And if you don't know already, we do run the alternate point scoring system. It's 30 points for the race winner. And as you can see, it goes all the way down through the standings to 19th place, scoring 1 point, with 20th place scoring 0 points. And then you get an extra bonus point for fastest lap of the race, no matter where you finish, as long as you do finish, and 2 bonus points for picking up pole position. So it really does shake up the order just slightly, and it rewards drivers for going for that pole position, which actually encourages drivers to go for that soft tyre stint at the very start of the race, because there's 2 potential points on the line, and we've seen that already, James.
We have seen that already, and of course the fastest lap in the race is worth 1 point. The pole position is worth 2 points, obviously, within qualifying. Hopefully we get to see a really good race out on track tonight, and with that point system, it really benefits, I think, all drivers within any division here in TTML. We've had some great pole positions, we've had some great fastest laps as well being set by the guys out on track. 10 drivers here currently, which means 10 points minimum is what these guys are going to be getting.
That's if you make it to the checkered flag. We should point that out. If you don't make the checkered flag, no matter what lap you retire on, you do not score those points. You have to cross the checkered flag under your own power to be classified in the points. So if you cross the line as a ghost car, that doesn't count. You will not score the points. You will be counted as DNF. So that is going to be plaguing on the drivers' minds as they make their way through into this one. But James, we're counted down into the lobby for the season finale here of TT Masters League. It's been quite a journey, and we get to end it here with a championship battle for the first season of TT Masters League. I have thoroughly enjoyed this season, and I hope you have too, as we make our way in towards that Brazilian Grand Prix. No better way to round off a season finale than here in Sao Paulo, so I'm looking forward to it. And make sure you strap yourselves in, grab that popcorn. It's your last chance before we head into qualifying. And speaking of qualifying, we're moments away, so let's get in to the Brazilian Grand Prix. As the track is built all around here, season finale. 15 corners takes us around 4.3 kilometres around this track, and of course it's one of the only tracks on the calendar that runs anti-clockwise. Bit of undulation changes, especially in the first sector, rounding off into that tight and tricky infield section that really tests the limit of the low speed cornering of these cars. And as we say that, here we are in qualifying, James. As I mentioned in the previous build-up, it's one of the only tracks on the calendar that actually does run anti-clockwise. It's sort of against the mould there.
It is against the mould, but I think it creates quite a close qualifying as well. You see the guys probably going to be split by around a second, I think, out on track here tonight. So it's going to be fascinating, I think, to see how these guys are going to get on. I think Legend is one of the first cars to come out on track. He's in the Alfa Romeo here tonight. And before I stress this, Mercedes have already wrapped up the championship because Rubicon is not here.
Yes, so Mercedes are now Constructors' Champions. We can confirm that, so back on top of the world then in the Constructors. That curb on the inside there helps to steer the car into the corner as you quickly get through turn 5. Now comes the double right-hander of turn 6 and 7. Down a couple of gears, back up one gear to make sure you've got that grip and the rear end. Make sure it behaves itself through turn 8 and then down the hill through turn 9. Then on the exit here you can see the track goes uphill, so it can help the traction there if you play your cars right. In towards turn 10, tightest corner on the track. As you now make your way through turn 11, full throttle if you dare through qualifying, using that curb and that little bit of AstroTurf on the right hand side to open up turn number 12. And now going in towards 13, 14 and 15. It's flat out now all the way to that checkered flag. What the important thing is now is to make sure you don't scrub off too much speed. Here comes that racing point then towards the start finish line, and it is going to be a 106.8 from Shapalele, and that puts him on provisional pole position. Legend across the line 108.1, and I believe that was the Williams behind it was of Medium Pilot who invalidated his last lap, so he is currently there classified as third at this moment in time. Navy heading his way towards the line, goes up to P2, 107.3 from the Dutchman, and that gets him so far onto the front row of the grid.
And Perpetum's 2/10 up on Shapalele in this middle sector, 50.4 compared to 50.6 that Shapalele set. So we'll see him now coming towards the line. He needs to make a staking claim for the championship, and what better way to do it than to go top by about a 1/10.5 of a second. Perpetum on top from Shapalele in second.
Yeah, very nice lap there from Perpetum as he now makes his own turn 2, making his way back towards that pit lane. Amadi here had a promising start to this season, and there's no better way to do it than getting yourself into a position where the team aren't expecting much of you. Oh, a little bit of a loss at back end there, out of turn 10. Can't quite keep that car under control through 11 there. He was always going to have a tough time getting that back under control, but he now makes his way on towards the track. He's got to get moving, otherwise that can... the stewards in this game can be a little bit harsh if you stop out on track, even if it is a mistake. So Imadi then makes his way all the way through, but Medium Pilot 106.3 from the Williams driver. Well, I'll tell you something, he is looking to try and wrap this title up now. It's as simple as that.
4 tenths ahead of his nearest rival in the championship coming into tonight. And pretty much, I've got to be honest, I think he's already wrapped up that lap, to be honest. I think Medium Pilot is going to win this one hands down.
Well, if that's the case, he would be on 203 points, meaning the gap between himself and Perpetum would be 29 points, with a maximum available of 31 to score. It would heavily favour Medium Pilot if this was the case, as he now makes his way through in towards 11 and then downwards towards turn 12. Killer Blue, meanwhile, 107 on the dot. It's very rare you get to see lap times when they are absolutely perfectly onto the second there, but exactly 67 seconds it took Killer Blue to have that lap time. There's something aesthetically pleasing about that.
Very aesthetically pleasing, and Killer Blue obviously is racing from university as well. I think I said this in League of Europe on for Division 1 on Saturday. Killer Blue has had Wi-Fi problems because most of his fellow accommodation students, the obviously within Holder residence, he is getting this Wi-Fi now from absolutely somewhere. So he's in 5th, 107 flat, very aesthetically pleasing for sure.
Yeah, Bianchi there, 107.4 on the medium tyres. Carlsbury 107.7. Legend has had a lap time there of 107.3 in the Alfa Romeo, looking to try and just get those soft tyres up the field. Of course, unfortunately, there's only 10 drivers here, which is really sad to see. Hopefully that changes for next season with the new breed of drivers coming in and getting ourselves attendance that we need. Basically, it's a real shame that drivers sign up and then don't turn up. It is quite sad. But anyway, Imadi then is on his outlap. Now he did, of course, try it out there on a set of medium tyres. I think he's binned those off after he had that little bit of a spin out of turn 10. So he's gone for the soft tyres now on his outlap. Plenty of space out on track. Maybe the initial strategy of qualifying on the medium tyres has been thrown out the window.
Yeah, I think he needs to go for it, to be honest. He's got very good pace. He's shown that last week. So hopefully he's going to try and provide a very good result. The Scotsman in the Haas as he then runs round through turn 14 and then through the kink at 15. We saw was right on board with Chapelelli. He had right side end plate damage actually on what would have been his outlap. So he came back into the pit lane, not going to be setting another time. But Armadi down through turn 1, now through turn 2 and 3, through the centre S's, looking beautiful through there. He's got to be in and around the mid, the 16.5, 16.6 I think for the first sector to really try and, well, stake a claim, and he is 16.5 through the first sector. Comes out now through turn 5, now up the hill, from where Jarno Trulli and Alonso came into contact, remember, in 2009, all the years back when Jonathan Lagarde was a commentator. I'm a team coming through turn 7 and then through turn 8. This is looking like a bad, not a bad lap, to be honest, so far.
He's hooked out pretty well so far. He now makes his way in towards turn 10. It's already proven to be his nemesis one time this qualifying session. He keeps that back end in check this time, though, as he now flies through turn 11, onwards now towards turn 12. 50.7 there in that second sector. Right on board with him now as we make our way up the hill through those flying left-handers here. It's full throttle all the way to the line now, but I think here he's trying to get up those gears, use that ERS to try and get its full advantage here. A 107.0 from Imad there. Not a bad lap time at all. And that puts him onto the third row of the grid, 6th place.
Yeah, very good lap time. I was thinking around the 107.1s actually, so he's even going quicker than even my expectations. Armadi goes safe. Everyone has now set a lap time. Medium Parlet is on a lap as well. Coutinho was 2 tenths up. He invalidated through the first sector. Coming through the second sector, I should say. Medium Parlet, though, 400 up, but he's purple in the middle sector, which makes me think he's going to go quicker as he now comes through turn 14 and now up the hill through 15. Eventually he'll reach it, now through 15, and he decides to come into the pit lane.
He's absolutely baiting you there, James. He knew you were watching. He knew you were watching. Coutinho, meanwhile, invalidated his last lap time. He's now going to try and go for a flying lap once again. 106.9 currently from the McLaren, the fastest McLaren so far. Of course, there's his teammate just passing through on the left. He's only set his lap time, Carlsbury, on the medium tyre. He's now rejoined on a set of softs. Coutinho, meanwhile, making his way through turn 5 and now onwards the narrowest part of the track through now turn 6 and 7. These flying right-handers up to 6th gear to make sure you get the traction you need there. And then it's, Coutinho actually goes all the way down to first, which I think spun up the rear tyres and really promoted that you get a little bit of a snap of oversteer, and by doing that you correct it, which then forces understeer because you're taking the corner at a faster rate than what the wheels are used to. So it's a bit of an odd one, that one. Oversteer leading to understeer, but he's invalidated his lap time by running just slightly too wide on the entrance of turn 12, and unfortunately that's another lap time that's gone.
Chapelelli's just behind him out on track, and he's a 10.5 up through the middle sector. And a valid lap currently as well, so the German now comes round through the kink at turn 15. Is he going to lay it on the line here? Challenge Medium Parlet? No, he goes second, and he's only 3 tenths off Medium Parlet. A good lap, and found a little bit of time as well in that final sector. I think we've got Navy on a lap as well. He's invalidated. Bianchi is also out there on a lap, as well as Carlsbury.
Well, lots of places to look and lots of places you'll see a lap time being set. Killer Blue is currently on a lap right now. I have to say, it's been an impressive season so far for the AlphaTauri driver. Of course, this was the season where we sort of weighed up and saw what the TMC and the TTL roster was going to be like head-to-head, and we've been produced with some fantastic results. I have to say as well, Killer Blue has been one of those that you really need to watch out as he's in the midfield. He's put in some really good performances of late.
It's all about the consistency, I think, for Killer Blue. He's really delivered out on track. Bianchi delivers out on track as well. I was right on board at the end of his final lap there. 106.642 goes second and 6,000th ahead of Chapelelli. Papetum has just started on the lap. Oh, and he's gone half spinning coming through turn 9. Goodness me, that was a good recovery. But yeah, Killer Blue, I think, has been really consistent. He's just been outdone now in qualifying as the times begin to progress. Papetum is 2 tenths up through the middle sector.
Yeah, that was the McLaren there of
Well, second.
Carlsbury going up to 5th, but then Killer Blue here gets up to 2nd place, 106.6 from the AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri trying to lock out that front row, and they've got time to find, but there's Perpetuum, 106.4 from the Mercedes driver, trying to get back and trying to get a lap time on the board. He's only really just over a 10th away from trying to grab pole position here. It's all going to come down to that last final flying lap to see who will grab that pole position. Interestingly though, Legend, I just want to see his fitted tyres. Yeah, he's been out there on these set of tyres for quite some time. I think he's just having a little bit of a race setup check just to make sure everything's in order before he heads in towards the race. Then he's going to go for one flying lap at the end of the session. He's going to hope to go for one flying lap, because otherwise if he doesn't set a faster lap than his 107.3, he has to start on these tyres which have already done 5 laps, so he won't want to be doing that anytime soon.
He definitely doesn't. He wants to be coming in for a fresh set of softs. But I think actually, looking at this, Legend might have gone for a softer compound of strategy coming into the race. Because obviously you can change between 3 different ones. So to balance the harder and the softer. I think he's gone softer. He's trying to get rid of these tyres to leave another 2 sets of soft compound of tyres. And that's what I think he's setting the laps for. And possibly to try and get in some late practice. Probably because he hasn't even practiced before.
Yeah, we've got Medium Pilot out there as well as he now makes his way on towards the back straight. Yep, in Portuguese, this little bit is actually called back straight, believe it or not. In towards turn 4 and 5 now, through those quick left-handers, on towards the narrowest part of the track, then heading upwards towards turn 6 and 7. That double right-hander, you just have to hold on for dear life. As you see there, Medium Pilot electing to stay in 6th gear, as he heads his way down towards turn number 8, now through turn 9 and upwards up the hill now towards turn 10. Very easy to get too much grass on the left hand side on the entry in towards 10. That can really unsettle the car. Through now turn 11, down the hill and then towards turn 12, using that little AstroTurf on the right hand side to open up the corner as much as possible and carry through as much speed as possible as well. Medium Pilot then riding on board with him as he makes his way towards that start finish line. He's not going to pit in, which is so obviously the line that you think he's going to take. He goes even quicker, 106.1. That is a marker and a half from the Williams driver. And, well, what else can I say that I haven't already said about Medium Pilot? Is tonight going to be the night he is crowned champion?
He will be crowned champion, actually, because I've been working out permutations, and because there's only 10 drivers here, even if Perpetuum was to finish, even if Perpetuum was to win, Medium Pilot can finish 10th and still win the championship.
But of course you're forgetting that if Medium Pilot doesn't finish, Perpetuum has to win the race, and he also, win the race, and that will give him the title. So it's all going to be to play for. Medium Pilot, all he has to do is finish this race, and he will be champion. It's as simple as that. Even if he has the worst race of his career, even if he finishes the race with no front wing, even if he decides to run all 36 laps with no front wing, as long as he gets to the checkered flag, he will be champion. And I think for one of the first times in these qualifying sessions, we might actually have a time, James, where there's no cars out on track. Although how slowly Medium Pilot's going means that he's in low fuel mode. That might not be an issue too soon.
Yeah, he's run out of fuel, and I mean, I think we're going to get, obviously, drivers pitting, coming out of the pit lane, I should say, for their final run very shortly indeed. And I think Perpetuum actually is the first one to come out on track. So Medium Pilot in. Interesting perspective, I think, on this, because the championship leader is in, the championship second place runner is going out the pits.
Yeah, I think Medium Pilot's got plenty of time, because really you want to be looking to exit the pit lane at 2 minutes before you really are in trouble, and even then you can leave it even later than that if you dare. But the only problem is now Perpetuum has that open track ahead of him as he heads now towards turns 4 and 5, and he'll be wanting to try and just take the fight to Medium Pilot as much as he can. He would love to grab pole position here because, in a sense, he gets an easier time. But I say easier, but there's actually no difference in the championship permutations if he were to get pole position. So that's how difficult tonight is going to be for the German here. That doesn't mean he's not going to try for sure, because front row of the grid is no mean feat whatsoever. Medium Pilot, though, looks on pole position, and by 0.3 of a second, it is going to be mighty. It's going to have to be a mighty lap here from Perpetuum. He now makes his way through turn 12, and of course this is now where you set that ERS battery all the way up, because turn 12 is your last braking point. You've now got to be full throttle, highest mix of fuel you can. highest deployment mode of ERS that you can, as now Perpetuum tries his best to try and get one more flying lap on the board. Through turns 1, 2 and 3 we go. Through that centre S, and nicely through turn 2 there. It could be so easy to cut that corner, but Perpetuum does no such thing. Down the back straight towards turns 4 and 5. He comes across the first sector line. He's 100 up on his own personal best, but he's invalidated the lap time going through turn 4. Took too much curb, and that's going to be that lap time done and dusted. I wonder if he's going to back out, recharge the ERS battery, get some fuel back, and try again. He's got to, surely.
He has to. I mean, he will get up to about 100% ERS towards the end of this lap, as long as he breaks through the corners and maintains that. I think we've got Imad on a lap in behind. He's in the middle sector. I think Bianchi is down on his left time. He'll be going for his final one shortly. But Imad, I think, is up on his time coming through the top of the hill at the middle sector.
He is now making his way through turn 9 as he now makes his way up the hill, keeping that back end in chat, which he does, and now heading in towards turn 10. Now he's got to be careful here because an AlphaTauri ahead of him will be looking to try and get that gap up the field, and you can see there, is there a chance to have a little bit of toe there? I think he's just a little bit too far back to take advantage of that AlphaTauri slipstream, that beautiful slipstream that these drivers look for. Then here comes Imad towards the line, and this will be probably his final lap of this session. He backs out, slows way down, so obviously not wanting to start on this particular set of soft tyres. He'll start on his original set that he set on his first lap, so maybe he feels that the tyre wear just wasn't good enough, or maybe it wasn't worth going up the order. Whatever the reason, he's staying in P6.
Yeah, tyre wear is about 4 or 5% per lap, so that's probably why he's trying to maintain that. Legend's going to be one of the first to come across the line. He's going to improve massively on his lap. He goes ahead of Navy by 0.3 of a second. I think we've got Coginio around the final corner. He's taking a very shallow line coming through. The medium pilot is behind him out on track as well. Is medium pilot going to improve?
Oh, yes. He does. My goodness.
What a lap.
That's 4/10. Yeah, here comes Perpetuum towards the line, then DRS wide open. It's a huge task already without medium pilot adding to the challenge. Perpetuum does take almost 2/10 out of his own time, but it's a 106.3, and that's the best he can do. Killer Blue has invalidated his lap time. Bianchi, meanwhile, heads his way towards the line. Can he try and pip his teammate to third? Yes, he can. Bianchi up to third place, 106.5. An impressive showing from the AlphaTauris. Imad comes into the pit lane. Carlsbury invalidated his lap time, and I think Legend here will be trying to go again, and he's trying to go for a lap time, that's for sure. He's in mode 2, so he's definitely going for it as he now makes his way out of turn 12, over these crests and through these left-handers now towards that start-finish line. This is when he comes into the pits now, isn't it? He'll steer. No, he won't. He'll stay out. He feels there's an improvement here. He comes across the line, and I'm just trying to see if there was an improvement to his lap time. There wasn't, because he's there in 10th place, but 2 points then going to our championship leader already. Medium pilot with a 106 flat to take pole position and those 2 points away. So the championship lead now grows to 29 points. Perpetuum in second place, Bianchi third, Killer Blue in fourth, with Chapalele in fifth, Coginio sixth, Navy seventh, Imad in eighth, Carlsbury in ninth, and Legend rounding out the top 10. Encouraging signs though, because the top 10 are covered by 1 second. So that is very encouraging going into the race. But James, it's time for that part of the stream where we hand it over to you for your predictions for the top 3. You got it slightly wrong last time out, but that's only because of a couple of incidents that happened very early on.
Go and rewind at the top of the stream, because I swear I said everyone would be covered by less than a second, and they are. So there you go. There's a prediction right already.
I don't know. I think you're going to have that in recording, I've got to say, James. Otherwise, I simply won't believe you. But yes, heading into this final round of the championship now, with 2 extra points for medium pilot. And a little surprise there from James, as we have a little bit of cloud cover over the circuit. So obviously everyone's going to start on a set of the soft tyres. No one's elected to go on the mediums, because of course you have to start on the tyre you set your fastest lap in if you're in the top 10. Of course there's only 10 drivers, so everyone's in the top 10, and nobody's gone for the medium tyres. Is there rain coming in this race?
There might be. That's why everyone has opted to go for a soft compound lap in qualifying rather than a set of mediums possibly towards the end of the session. But it'll be really interesting to see how these guys get on. As per my prediction, by the way, I am now going to make a top 3 prediction.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to go medium pilot for the win, Papetum second, Bianchi third.
Well, you heard it here. Record that bit, because now you know. That's going to... We'll see what happens
there. Me on
there.
Twitter if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's just promoting your Twitter. Hang on a second. That's genius. That is absolute genius. But we're getting now in towards the formation lap here for the last round of Season 1 of TT Masters League. And you have to say, a little bit cloudy, a little bit hazy around this track today. I do wonder, those clouds up in the sky, they're going to be an interesting one to watch. Medium pilot, by the way, well, the graphic will say that he just needs to finish in 13th place, so we'll translate that to he just needs to finish. If he gets this checkered flag, if he takes the checkered flag, no matter what position he ends up in, he will be your championship winner. Of course, though, if he doesn't finish the race, Papetum has to win. It's as simple as that. All Papetum can do is drive as hard and as fast as he can and hope that there's a little bit of favour that gets him there. Kalsper was, well, if he attended tonight, he would have been the only driver to take part in every single round this season. Unfortunately, though, he is not with us tonight. So 10 out of 11 ain't so bad whatsoever. But you can see here, 36 laps await us for the season finale of TT Masters League. And James, just in case we didn't catch it, who was your top 3 again?
Medium pilot, Papetum, Bianchi, which is the current top 3 in qualifying.
Well, there you go then. So James predicting a boring race. I'm not going to predict that whatsoever. Hold on to your hats, because a championship decider, no matter how big the gap, is always an exciting battle to have. Medium pilot, pole position, meaning he gets those extra 2 points added to his championship tally already. 29 points is the gap between medium pilot and Papetum. It's going to be a huge order for Papetum, but all he can do is win this race. That is all he can do on his side of the garage. Meanwhile, medium pilot, all he has to do is get to the checkered flag. If he finishes this race, he will be the champion. We are moments away then from the season finale of TT Masters League here in Brazil. And hold on to your hats. This championship decider will be a great one. Here we are then. It is 5 red lights. We're underway in Sao Paulo. Medium pilot gets a good start off the line. So too does Papetum as we make our way now down towards turn 1. Papetum has the inside line. He's going to try and take the inside line in towards turn 1. There's contact in the background. Papetum's into the wall. It's happened immediately. The championship contenders have come together, and Papetum just tried to go up the inside way too early in this race, and he's all the way down the order there in 10th place. Meanwhile, medium pilot now will try and run away with this one, leading this race. Bianchi up to 2nd place. Killer Blue 3rd, Chapelele in 4th, with Kugillo in 5th, Carlsbury 6th, Navy there in 7th, trying to go around the outside, but no way through. Carlsbury manages to hold on the inside line. Imadi trying to get around the outside there. Legend almost losing that back end, manages to gather it up though, and he's able to hold on for another day. What that means for Papetum though is that he has front wing damage. He's going to have to come into the pits and get that nose change. Such a huge shame for him. He tried to go for the move down the inside. It was almost like a rush of blood to the head. He wanted that move as soon as he possibly could. Unfortunately, it just came a little bit too early for him in the race. Medium pilot for me had that line covered, and Papetum just tried to make a move happen, tried to be a little bit too optimistic. Here's Chapelele though, who's on the back of Killer Blue, using that ERS battery to his advantage. He'll try and switch to the outside here. Killer Blue's on the inside, in towards turn 1 they go. The racing point's on the outside. He'll now have the inside line in towards turn 2, and a lovely move from Chapelele there. That moves him now up to 3rd place. He's now got the backstraight though to try and hold off Killer Blue, but look at the speed of Chapelele. He is absolutely gunning for it right now, up into 3rd place and looking to try and chase down the next car, which is Bianchi.
Yeah, Chapelele having a real bad time of things as of late in other leagues, but certainly delivering so far in TTML. Papetum tried to dive it down the inside of medium pilot. That lap 1 incident, that turn 1 incident, very similar to Prost and Senna in the late 1980s around Japan, remember?
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely spot on there, James, as the two collided, although that one was a little bit of intent behind Senna. This one was Papetum desperately trying to get a move done, and that did look a little bit of a desperate move from a desperate driver who knew he had it all against him anyway. He has it even more against him as he's pitted in and fitted that new front wing. You never know what could happen, though, in this race. It's worth sticking around for it. Medium pilot, though, leads as we're now on to lap 3 of this Grand Prix. DRS will be enabled this lap. Bianchi there is in second place, Chapelele in third with Killer Blue fourth, Coutinho fifth, Carlsbury sixth, Navy in seventh, Omadi in eighth, Legend in ninth, and Perpetuum is rounding out the last of the finishers, or at least the last of the runners right now.
Yeah, Chapelele's close up to the back of Bianchi. He's really close here to him, but he's not going to try and get the move done. He just wants to sit tight, wait for Bianchi's tyres maybe to fall off the cliff. We saw the pit stop strategy. Back 13 to 15 it was for one stop onto a set of hard compound of tyres. Now, with Perpetuum committing on a set of hard compound of tyres, that means he's going to go soft towards the end of the race. Probably within the last 9 or 10 laps, I would imagine, he would pit in for a set of soft compound of tyres. But this begs the question, we've seen it before with other races in the season, will these guys pit in earlier than what the graphics have said?
Yeah, it's always worth going for the undercut, isn't it? Because in the long run, it gets you that time you need getting past drivers. And at a track like Brazil, where actually overtaking isn't as difficult as other places on the calendar. But sorry, I'm just going to have to interrupt myself because here comes Chapelele down the inside in towards turn one, down the inside of Bianchi, and with that DRS he gets the move done. The Racing Point here is now up to second place, and Chapelele really does mean business right now.
He didn't even take a glance at Bianchi going past. He just gunned for it down in towards turn one, got the move done. He's up into second. 2.1 seconds to the back of Medium Pilot, who's leading. I think, honestly, Medium Pilot could take this easy. He's serving up the ERS nicely. Chapelele is running about half the ERS that Medium Pilot is. But look at the gap, it's just beginning to edge closer. Chapelele, I think, has got to try and close within a second, go within the DRS range, and try and put pressure on Medium Pilot. Take him out of his comfort zone here in Brazil.
Yeah, he's got to go for it, hasn't he? He's got the pace to do it, so why not, I would say. Absolutely, go for it. Meanwhile, we are in lap 4 of this race, and as you can see, Medium Pilot leads the way ahead of Chapelele.
Killer Blue spun! Killer Blue spun! Coming out of turn 12, he's got caught. He's taken the Kimi Räikkönen sort of line onto track, but Killer Blue has spun. I think he just dropped the rear, to be honest.
Yeah, so easy to do around turn 12, especially on that curb on the inside. So unfortunately for him, he's going to have to do all that hard work all over again.
A Medium Pilot's picked up a 3-second time penalty.
That could come back to bite him in this race. You never know. And if all the drivers are starting on the soft tyres, it does mean one thing: something's going to happen. Whether it's the weather, whether it's anything else, any other external factor, something's going to happen. Otherwise, you would have seen at least one driver try and go onto the medium tyres to start this race.
Yeah, I think the drivers obviously would have went on to a set of mediums. It looks to me as if the cloud cover is increasing, so I might imagine that rain is going to be coming possibly within this race. Andy Campbell, by the way, is in the comment section. Good evening to Andy. Said can't beat finishing a season in Interlagos. Chapelele has made a really bad mistake, though.
Well, the Racing Point here has got to keep his cool because he's going to have Bianchi all over the back of him as he now make the way through turn 12. Up the hill we go then through those flying left-handers. Let's ride on board with Bianchi then as he looks to try and close in on that Racing Point ahead and looking to try and use that DRS. But to me, Chapelele might look a little bit too far ahead. Medium Pilot with the fastest lap of this race, 109.4. And I think Bianchi's thought the same because he didn't really use his ERS battery in real aggression there, and didn't really close up to the back of that Racing Point as quickly as he may have liked. The McLarens here, though, Coutinho and Carlsbury, 4th and 5th at the moment, and they're running in that midfield quite steadily. Navy, though, is looking to put Carlsbury under that little bit of pressure as they head through turns 4 and 5. Perpetuum, meanwhile, he had that incident early on in the race. He re-emerged onto track on a set of hard tyres. Now, if there was rain coming, I reckon he would have gone onto a softer compound.
He would have went onto a softer compound, which might mean the dryness of the conditions will improve as we go through the race. But you never know what's going to happen in Formula 1. Just to speak about the two McLarens as well. In terms of position gain, Carlsbury's gained the most out on track. He's gained 4 positions. He's on the back of Coutinho, but it looks to me that Bianchi is now beginning to come back into these guys. He might just be overwearing the tyres, I think, slightly, which is causing a little bit of blistering on the rears, and Coutinho and Carlsbury are beginning to sneak a little bit closer.
Well, here is Navy then. He's looking at the back of Carlsbury as we make our way towards turn 1. But Carlsbury, again, not using his ERS battery. You can see, though, it's less than a quarter battery he's got left to deploy, so they really have to use that ERS sparingly around this track, because although there are plenty of straights to use it, there's not many places to brake and regenerate that energy you do lose. Carlsberg right on the back of Coutinho in towards turn 4, but no way he can put that car, still putting the pressure on his teammate as they now make their way through. Chapelele, meanwhile, of course, I believe is a reserve for the league. Oh, as the McLaren's almost touch going in towards turn 7 there. At managing to keep it out of each other's way. As I say, Chapelele reserve for this league, I believe. No points next to his name so far, but what a start it could be. Here comes Carlsberg down the inside of Coutinho in towards turn number 10, and somehow they don't collide. Coutinho holds on to 4th place. Carlsberg still in 5th, and Navy's watching this with popcorn in one hand, steering wheel in the other, saying, I could have a chance here.
Coutinho's going to have to let his teammate through, I think. Carlsberg is so much quicker than Coutinho. Coutinho's beginning to overwear the tyres. Do not be surprised in the next 2 or 3 laps if we see Coutinho into the pit lane to try to stop strategy. Carlsberg is closing in. Coutinho actually broke the... Bianchi's broke the DRS actually on Coutinho. Chapelele picks up a 3-second time penalty now, so that evens out the leaders. The sun begins to break through here in Brazil, and Carlsberg's not going to be close enough down the back straight. Down towards turn 4 anyways, or turn 5, medium pilot lead, Chapelele second, Bianchi third.
Of course, they don't have to swap positions. It's entirely up to them for team orders. But at the moment, Coutinho is leading his teammate Carlsberg going through turn 6 and 7. And Navy, as I said, will be looking on at this battle, licking his lips, thinking there could be a chance I could take advantage of a driver that maybe just loses that back end slightly. Of course, battling on track means you lose time to everybody else, so you've got to be careful. Chapelele getting onto the curbs on the exit of turn 10. That's a fantastic camera angle as they tackle turn 11 there. Chapelele's got to be careful with those rear tyres because he is sliding that back end out, as does Carlsberg there on the exit of turn 12. That's literally the worst possible place you could do that because you lose so much momentum down the start-finish straight. Navy looking to try and get onto the back of Carlsberg. I think Carlsberg got away with that one. He's able to get up to speed with that DRS, and Navy doesn't find that way through. Lap 9 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Medium Pilot still leads the way from Chapelele by over 4 seconds, with Bianchi, Coutinho, Carlsberg and Navy, with Imadi as well in the background, all in that one picture frame as they head our way down towards turn 4.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I was looking at Imadi. He is beginning to get a little bit closer to these guys because they're just beginning to put pressure on each other. Imadi can just easily stay on the back of these guys. He's running more ERS, actually, as well than the guys in front. About 10% more than Navy, certainly, and about the same as Carlsberg. So Imadi really coming into this race nicely. Watch out for Killer Blue, though. Killer Blue is the fastest man, I think, out of these guys. Remember, he spun. He took the Kimi Raikkonen line through turn 12. He's 6 seconds off the back of Legend, but that gap was once 12 seconds, so he's really beginning to gain.
He is indeed. Navy, meanwhile, breaking in towards turn 12 and looking to try and take the optimum line all the way through. He's looking to try and get past Carlsberg, but it's that frustrating feeling that no matter what you do, no matter what line you take, even if the car in front makes a mistake, you still can't find that way past. Lap 10 of this Brazilian Grand Prix. I have 27 laps to go. Medium Pilot leading by 4.7 seconds at the moment. Medium Pilot, I think his team might be over the radio soon saying you don't have to push this hard.
Yeah, Carlsberg closing in on Coutinho as well. This is for 4th and 5th. Not going to be close enough to the back, but Medium Pilot just dominating things out in front. Really beginning to exert his confidence and exert his championship prowess, I think, out on track here tonight. And he's really just pulling away from Chapelele. The guys in behind might be just suffering from a little bit of overwearing of the tyres, which is why the gap is extending out a couple of tenths per lap. But expect, if Medium Pilot was to undercut the front, the guys in behind him, he could be out in, 6-7 seconds lead, I think.
At this point, it's looking more than likely, isn't it? Meanwhile, you've got Carlsberg looking to try and see if he can get his way past his teammate just up ahead on the for the battle for 4th place as they now make their way through those flying left-handers and onwards now towards that start-finish straight. Does anybody blink this early on? No, they don't. Everybody stays out for another lap here. No one's thinking about that pit stop window just yet, but it's coming very soon, especially for these soft tyre runners. Carlsberg here seeing his teammate Coutinho take that curb on the exit of turn 3, and he's looking to just try and close in as much as he possibly can. Pepetta, meanwhile, he's just making his way down towards turn 12. You can see on the mini-map there, he's on the hard tyres, so he's going to be losing more and more time as he makes his way down the order. So unfortunately for him, it's not going to be a great way to round off this championship. I think, you know, going into turn 1, you have 36 laps ahead of you. The odds are already against you. Just give it your best shot throughout the race rather than trying to make a move down towards turn 1. But I think it was just that rush of blood to the head. He thought there was a move on, and unfortunately for him, it's just one of those turn 1 incidents where someone's just been a little bit too eager.
I think you've got to be honest as well. Medium pilot gave him plenty of room to try and get the move done. Carsby all out of shape coming out of turn 12. But yeah, Pepetta had the inside line. He had enough room really to get the move done, but because of this glitch that we have on lap 1, where the cars would be ghosted, they're not technically ghosted. They're going to still go into the side of each other. I've seen it too many times. Pagini picks up a 3-second time penalty. Pepetta could have backed off, but I think he wanted to try and go for the move. It's going to be an interesting one in the stewards. I think, honestly, Pepetta will be more angry at the game rather than himself.
Yeah, I think it will go down as one of those racing incidents, won't it? In the long scheme of things. Lap 12 of this race, though, Medium Pilot leading by almost 6 seconds now ahead of Chapelele, who's looking to put his first points on the board as he comes in. He was a very late addition as well to TT Masters League, and he's had a little bit of bad form recently, but well, what a way to answer those critics there. Currently second place and doing a great job of keeping ahead of Bianchi. I have to say, Bianchi and Killer Blue, although they're at different parts of the circuit at the moment, you've got Bianchi in P3, Killer Blue in P9. They've had a fantastic season, the AlphaTauris.
They really have. Medium Pilot set the new fastest lap of the race. With a 109.3, Bianchi is in. Bianchi is the only one to come into the pit lane out of the leaders, so he blinks first. To be honest, it's not a bad strategy. 24 laps on a set of hard compounded tyres is doable. Is that a set of mediums that he's got? It is. It's a set of mediums. 24 laps on a set of mediums. Oh, he's got to be very worn towards the end of the race.
We've seen this before, though, James. We have seen people take this aggressive medium tyre strategy and make it work. So I've got to be honest with you, it could work for Bianchi, but at the same time, he's got to keep an eye on those tyres, keep an eye on the temperatures as well as the sun beams down onto the track. Let's see how that works. Bianchi rejoins in 9th place behind his teammate by 4.8 seconds. But what that does mean is Bianchi now has clear air. He doesn't have any dirty air in front of him. Clean air is what he needed, and he can set some quick lap times now. So how does everybody else react around him? Does anybody else decide to pit in? Does Killer Blue decide to pit in this lap?
Medium Pilot then.
Medium Pilot then is in from the lead of the race then as we just about approach a third race distance. In fact, we are third race distance now, aren't we? Pit window is open for Medium Pilot, so he's actually getting a one-lap undercut on his own strategy. So he's looking to try and get onto those hard tyres, is he? And get to the end of the race. Hard tyres on for the number 2 Williams, and away he goes. Nice quick pit stop from the Williams crew as he now makes his way through the pit lane and out of that pit lane exit. Of course, it's a very interesting pit lane exit because you're in control all the way through here. It gets very narrow on pit exit, but once you're through that, you then rejoin onto the back straight and towards turn 4. And Medium Pilot rejoins ahead of Killer Blue, one of the other AlphaTauris there, who has yet to stop. So that was an important move that he had to get ahead of that AlphaTaurian. Setting the fast lap of the race last time out would have done him no threat whatsoever, would it?
Definitely not. He's 12 seconds off Chapelele as well. And the pit stop around here is about 18, 19 seconds, I think. So Chapelele is going to be coming out about 7 seconds behind Medium Pilot when he comes out of the pit lane. Now, the interesting perspective is, if Killer Blue stays out at least one more lap and Chapelele was to pit this lap, which he's not going to, because he's just gone past the pit lane as soon as I said that. Cagino, though, was in from second position. Chapelele's gone on that extra lap. If Killer Blue decides to go on another lap, but however his tyres are really beginning to wear, Chapelele would be behind Killer Blue, I think. If that makes any sort of sense.
Well, Cagino's onto medium tyres, so too is Armadi, so they're looking to try and get this aggressive race strategy here. I have to be honest with you, what they're going to be doing, 21 laps, 22 laps, let's call it, on those medium tyres. When the soft tyres have already done 14 laps, I've got to say, that's possible. It's definitely possible.
It is possible, but I think those tyres are going to be wearing towards the 75%, 80% range, I think, and that is enough on this game to give the drivers out on track, on a set of mediums certainly, a puncture. Now, I think Medium Pilot has probably prevented the inevitable, I think, from happening. He doesn't want to wear out his tyres too much if he was to go onto a set of mediums, and that's why he's gone into a set of hard, played it safe, he can afford to, he's in the lead of the race. And he's just really dominating, I think, players out in front. Schiaparelli, though, is into the pit lane this lap around, as is Carlsbury, as is Navy, so the front three are in.
So that's going to hand the lead back to Medium Pilot, but what tyres did this top three go on to? I'm seeing a lot of medium tyres ready here. Carlsbury goes on to mediums as well. Schiaparelli also onto mediums. Navy on mediums as well. So yeah, they're looking to go for that more aggressive strategy. Medium tyres should get them now to the end of the race with 21 to go.
Bianchi has undercut Schiaparelli in the pit lane as well.
He has indeed. So now Bianchi takes a hold of second place. Schiaparelli he taps the wall on pit exit. You can see how close that is. Meanwhile, the McLarens might be going side by side down towards turn 4. Coutinho, does he have that inside line? No, he doesn't. He's on the outside. Carlsbury's got the inside line. He's got the move done on his teammate. That was so important for the two of them there. Meanwhile, Navy has just about emerged ahead of Imadi. Imadi put up a challenge down the back straight. Couldn't quite get that momentum that he had there, Imadi, to get past Navy. But Carlsbury, there will be mini fist bumps in that cockpit right now. He's finally passed his teammate. He can now press on. Can he challenge Schiaparelli now for that last podium place?
Carlsbury's got fresher tyres than Bianchi. That's going to be the more important factor, I think, as we go longer term in the race. Papetum has picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He's still running at the back of the field, even with everybody coming into the pit lane. But Bianchi on 2 lap old mediums. He came in pretty much on the same lap as Medium Pilot. I think Medium Pilot came in a lap after Bianchi. So Medium Pilot leads by 5.9 seconds, but Bianchi is going to be in danger, I think, towards the end of this race, especially with the likes of Schiaparelli and Carlsbury and behind. They're going to start hammering away at that advantage, and if they've got the pace, they will challenge Bianchi and they will pass him before the end.
Well, Imadi here. He's looking for a move on Navy. He's, well, within range. He can try and go for it. Both on the medium tyres. That should get them now to the end of this race. Imadi on 1 lap older tyres than the Renault ahead of him. Well, currently, that battle for the lead, obviously, we're going to have to keep an eye on it. Medium Pilot leading by just over 6 seconds ahead of Bianchi. Schiaparelli's closing the gap down, though, between himself and the AlphaTauri ahead of him. Carlsbury, though, means business now. He wants to round off this season with a podium, and he's within touching distance of trying to grab that 3rd place.
Yeah, I believe Carlsbury actually hasn't turned up the last couple of weeks as well, so it's good to see him back first and foremost, but it's good to see him on the pace and within the DRS range. And look at him, he's using up the overtake mode to get closer to Schiaparelli. He's not going to be close enough down and towards turn 1 unless he's got a jetpack underneath that car. He sets the new fastest lap of the race, but Schiaparelli is already onto the back of Bianchi. A Medium Pilot on a set of hard compound of tyres is outpacing Bianchi quite considerably. Here comes Schiaparelli down the straight. Is he going to go for the move? Is he going to be close enough down in towards turn 4? I don't think he will be. He tries to have a half look, but not quite. Bianchi holds on for second, but Schiaparelli has got to put Bianchi under pressure now, and he's got to really take Bianchi out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, he has as well, but he's also got to make this move. He's got to be patient with this move, but he's also got to be quick about it because Carlsbury is right on the back of him, looking to try and take advantage. He's on the pace as well of these two, so he's going to have to be careful. Schiaparelli, slight bit of a loss of back end out of turn 9. The car just does not like slamming down on the loud pedal that aggressively as Schiaparelli looks to try and get that move past, but you can see Carlsbury's just there lurking in the distance. Bianchi here obviously has no DRS to help him defend. Schiaparelli here has got slipstream. He's got a little bit of ERS to help him. He's also got a little bit of DRS to help him as well. Into the slipstream he will go. He moves to the inside, to the left-hand side of the track, and he's got that move done well before the braking zone into the first corner. Schiaparelli up to second place, and Bianchi now, his turn to have the DRS, but it's going to be down the back straight. There is Carlsbury looking for a move then. Left-hand side of the track, they're side by side. Look at this neck and neck between them, down towards turn 4. But Carlsbury takes full advantage and now moves up into 3rd place. Fantastic move from the McLaren driver. A crucial one as well, because now it means he can properly chase down Schiaparelli for 2nd place in this race.
And that's why Bianchi shouldn't have pitted when he did, because he's now going to fall further down the field, and Coginio and Navy are going to be towards the back end of him in a couple of laps' time. Bianchi is falling like a stone, I think. Schiaparelli and Carlsberg are through. Now they can try and use their fresh tyres on medium pilot, try and close in that gap. 6.8 seconds the gap. We're more than halfway through. The medium pilot leads, Schiaparelli second, Carlsberg in third. Tekken, by the way, in the comment section saying, what does me and medium pilot have in common? We both are going to win the championship at this track. Was Tekken leading in Division 5?
Well, I mean, we've got 17 laps to go still. Anything can happen. You never know. Medium Pilot, though, leading the way by 6.9 seconds. He's actually increasing that gap. But, of course, the top three and the second, third and fourth have been battling away. We've got yellow flags in Sector 1, and it is Navy who's around at Turn 1. Just on the entrance into Turn 2, actually. As he's just got to try and... he's got to wait now for the other two cars to pass him. But yeah, I think he's just trying to keep the car moving so that he doesn't get disqualified. That's a very apparent thing in this one, especially through those first couple of corners. So he's reversing and putting it into first, reversing, putting it into first, just so he keeps the car moving and so he doesn't get himself possibly black flag. But yeah, Navy now with that little bit of front wing damage as well. It looked like he just dropped it on Turn 1, looks like.
Yeah, I think he's took too much of the curve coming through Turn 1. It's like medium pilot, actually, on lap 1. Remember all the way back, even though he wasn't going for the move, Navy looked like he got too much of the curve, he spun the car around, and he's sadly down in 10th position, which now actually gives Perpetum an extra point out on track. It's not going to be enough, obviously, with the championship. Carlsberg closed in on Schiaparelli. Bianchi's staying quite close to the back of these two. They haven't dropped them just yet. And the more that these guys run a bit of a DRS train, I think the more Coginio and Armadi, who just picked up a 3-second time penalty, are going to come into play.
Here is Carlsberg then, maybe not this time around, but he's certainly looking onto the back of that gearbox of Schiaparelli ahead of him as we now make our way up the hill towards the double right-handers of 6 and 7. Flying in here, you can see down 2 gears to 5th this time around, whereas compared to qualifying, of course, they were down to 6th to make that corner. Navy is into the pits then from that one, and it looks like here he's going to leave the session, unfortunately. So now he's running as a ghost car, and what that means is he is no longer a So now he's running as a ghost car, and what that means is he is no longer a...
Hopefully we'll get Tom up. We are now live. Right, thank you very much, Tom. There we go. We are here for the final 12 laps of TTML Division 1. Kieran McGinley, sadly, has had to go and literally disappear. He's done a disappearing act like Dynamo the Magician. But I am here to take you through the final 12 laps. Of course, I'm James Head. I didn't think I'd be doing this tonight, but Medium Pilot does lead. The only thing that you have missed since we went down for a couple of laps is Killer Blue has got the overtake done on Legend. He is through now and he's up into 7th position. So Killer Blue is through and he's up into 7th. However, these guys are now beginning to get closer. Carlsbury is through, obviously, on Bianchi. Bianchi now in 4th. Coginio in 5th. Coginio is the one that is really beginning to strike a little bit closer towards these guys out on track. But remember, with the podium, with the championship permutations coming into tonight, Medium Pilot is doing enough to win the championship. Perpetuum cannot possibly win the championship, I think, from his position, unless there is a safety car out on track. But with 11 more laps to go, Medium Pilot does lead. There he is, the Williams out in front, from Chappelli in 2nd, Carlsbury in 3rd. We're right on board with the battle for 2nd and 3rd for now, as Carlsbury is now through turn 2 and 3 through the centre S. And he's 7/10 of a second off Chappelli. Just in comparison to the ERS, Chappelli is running double, Carlsbury, I should say, is running double the amount of ERS compared to Chappelli out on track. So this means Carlsbury has got more usable energy to really put pressure on Chappelli. However, the clouds, as you can see, has now begun to come over out on track, which now means possibly a threat of rain towards the end of this race. We saw this at the beginning of the race. We've dried up obviously into sunny conditions, and now just in the blinking of an eye we've got the conditions the same back here. But welcome back to anybody that is re-tuning in on TTML Division 1. If you are tuning in on my stream, by the way, you can go and watch it on League Racing TV, where we are of course live. But out on track, it is Medium Pilot who does lead. Look at the conditions though, really beginning to cloud over, as it always does here in Brazil normally. With 3/4 of the race done, it is Medium Pilot who leads Chappelli 2nd. Carlsbury just runs wide coming through turn 1. Look at Coginio as well, who runs massively deep in towards turn 1. Bianchi now is saved really a chance of Coginio coming at him. He's going to be about a second off as they come down towards turn 4. But Carlsbury is getting closer to the back of Chappelli. Medium Pilot is just dominating out in front currently. Chappelli 2nd, Carlsbury in 3rd. And unfortunately for Kieran, Mr. Kieran McGinley, his power went down off his house. So he's had a power cut. He was talking about this earlier on, where he had electrical problems, and it seems that life has come back to bite him. But we are still running the stream. Thank you very much to Tom, of course. Live standings, as it says, Medium Pilot on 234, Perpetuum currently on 185. Now, because of Navy's spin through turn 1, remember, Perpetuum now up a point, so he's on 185 points, and Carlsberg, who's not here tonight, is on 171. Carlsbury, though, closing in. The McLaren, they've got a little bit of traffic ahead, which is ghosted, and that is Navy, of course, running down the straight just ahead of them. It's going to give Chappelli a bit of a tow, actually, and I think this is going to really help out Chappelli, because Navy's running as an AI car, so he won't pick up any points. It now brings Chappelli into that DRS range, running in behind Navy, so he's essentially getting a free dose of ERS running down the straight. And we see on board with Carlsbury, he cannot physically close up to the back of Chappelli, and even going through a ghost car it can be quite tricky, but Carlsbury makes that look pretty easy. Coginio as well is on the back. Coginio on the back of Bianchi for 4th and 5th. Imadi has just dropped off the pace slightly. He was running about 9/10 of a second when the stream went down. He's now 2.2 seconds off the Scotsman in 6th, running for, I think, for his best result of the season by far. But it is fantastic to see Medium Pilot out in front, and possibly going to be wrapping up the championship here tonight. Hopefully we've got no more late drama in store for you. Well, if we have got late drama in store for you, then I think you'll be easy at the best possible moment. But Carlsbury now on the back of Chappelli again, 0.5 of a second off. It is very difficult to close underneath the ERS and underneath the DRS down in towards turn 1. Don't think Carlsbury is going to be close enough this time around. He could potentially see himself up towards turn 4 to try and get the move done. But 8 more laps to go. Medium Pilot does lead. Chapelelli in second, Carlsbury in third. And again, Coginio getting onto the back of Bianchi. Remember, Coginio was running 2 lap fresher tyres than Bianchi. Bianchi pitted earliest out of those leaders. And now, with no DRS, Bianchi's in trouble because Coginio's getting closer. He's not going to be close enough, though. The German down in towards turn 4. So Coginio currently out on tracks, running in 5th position, but he's looking to try and get the move done on Bianchi. We'll try and run through the penalties as well when there's a little bit of break in the action, but we'll try and flick through the 2nd and 3rd battle and the 4th and 5th battle currently out on track. But fantastic stuff out on track, and D's beginning to get a little bit closer as well. It's now 2 seconds gap. He's came into that gap by about 0.2 of a second. Bianchi, though, is going to be put off slightly by Navy, and now this is Coginio's opportunity. Surely not around the outside of turn 11. It's impossible to try and go around the outside there, but Coginio's now at a possible chance to try and have a go at Bianchi. German against Italian, and now Finn against German. This is for 2nd and 3rd, and Carlsbury within the slipstream. Can he get close enough for the move? Down in towards turn 1, he pulls to the inside line, tries to get the move done, tries to put the car up there, and not quite. Coginio, though, is through down the straight, and he is through and he's up to P4. We'll try and swap between battles if we can. Carlsbury now coming out of back. This is his best opportunity to get past Chapelelli. He breezes on by the racing point, and he's now through and he's up into 2nd position. Fantastic stuff from Carlsbury. He's got very good pace here tonight. Chapelelli will keep on at him with 7 laps to go. 6.5 if you're being picky. Medium Pilot does lead, Carlsbury 2nd and Chapelelli in 3rd. So we've seen a change of positions. The 2 McLarens moving up positions. Carlsbury up to 2nd, Coginio up to 4th. And Bianchi will try, as his might, will try and stay within contest. But this is what I was saying to Kieran earlier on in the stream. Bianchi's tyres would wear off about 22-23 laps he's going to be doing on those tyres. They're going to be wearing off at a rate of about 4-5% per lap, and this is bringing D behind him into play, and the Scotsman really beginning to try and excel out on track. It's fantastic to see that we are still going on the stream, and a big thank you of course to Tom for running the graphics throughout the whole season here in TTML. Of course Division 2 and Division 4 will also be covered, I think, with graphics this week. But down in towards turn 1, Medium Pilot does lead, Carlsbury 2nd, Chapelelli in 3rd, and now Bianchi on the back of Coginio. 0.7 of a second away. He's not going to be close enough, I don't think, for the move, but D running, just got to be careful in his ERS actually. D looking on board, 16% of ERS as he runs wide coming through turn 4. While there's a bit of a break in the action, and for the benefit of Tom, I am going to have a run through the pits, the penalties out on track. So you will see this live on your screen. So Medium Pilot has got at least 1 penalty. He does, he's got 1 penalty. Carlsbury has got 2 warnings but no penalties. Chapelelli has got a penalty, with Coginio picking up 2 penalties. Bianchi has got not a single warning. Good stuff on Bianchi. D has picked up a penalty and a couple of warnings, so he might be a risk of a 3-second time penalty. Killer Blue has got a penalty as well. Legend has got 2 warnings. Perpetuum has got a penalty and a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and Navy's AI car, he did pick up 2 warnings, but he's still there out on track. So that's a rundown, and now we can have the live standings back up. Sorry about that, we had to try and persevere with that, Tom. But there is the leader, Medium Pilot, 17 lap old hards. He was one of the earlier ones to pit in, but he's just been so dominant out on track. Hopefully we'll try and get an interview with him at the end of this race, as we will of course for the top 3. But remember, the weekly schedule coming up tonight, Division 2, Division 3, all from Brazil. We've got Formula 2 next week, tomorrow I should say, from Russia. So we're going to be taking in Russia, as well as Friday I should say, Division 4 and Division 5 will be live. So that is a rundown of the weekly schedule. I just saw that on the stream. But D is getting closer to the back of Bianchi. There's going to be 4 more laps to go. And now D getting closer to the back of Bianchi. Bianchi really beginning to drop through the field. He'd stayed quite consistent within the mid part of his stint. But now, because the tyres are beginning to ebb away and as the track changes and the conditions change, D now beginning to get closer. And it almost looks like Coginio might be coming back into Bianchi slightly as well. This is D's best opportunity though. The Scotsman on the back of the Italian, running down this long straight down towards turn 4. Braking just around the 75-metre mark, getting the apex turn in as Coginio picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think now he is on 2 penalties, if I'm not mistaken. As now Armady closes up. Look at the freshness of the tyres. He's really just coming into his own now, Armady, potentially for his best result of the season, as I say. And again, he was one of the late drivers that did join TTML Division 1, but Armady will be trying to hope that he can pick up a P5 out on track. But with Bianchi picking up no warnings at all, it's going to be quite a difficulty as we come through the final couple of corners. And I thought I saw spits of rain out on track. I might be mistaken, it might be my eyesight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Armady now using up the overtake mode to get close enough and to, in fact, breeze past Bianchi, who goes into the pit lane. So Bianchi is into the pit lane, and this is for a fastest lap attempt, I do believe. So the Italian now is through, and he'll drop in behind Killer Blue, I think. And this is good strategy, actually, from AlphaTauri, because Bianchi now going for that fastest lap of the race. He deserves to go for the fastest lap of the race. He puts on a set of soft compounded tyres. Killer Blue is coming past the AlphaTauri pit box now, so he is going to be out in front. Gives Bianchi a little bit of tow. So Killer Blue and Bianchi now are going to be working together, I think, to try and get that fastest lap of the race for Bianchi. I mean, the fastest lap of the race currently is a 108.2 by Perpetuum. Bianchi's 109.4. He needs to improve 1.2 seconds, I make that, to get the fastest lap of the race. So that's going to be something to look at towards the end. But Medium Pilot does lead the way, 9.2 seconds. Carlsbury's really impressed me, I've got to be honest, this race. Really had some good pace about him. The Finn running in second, outscoring Schiaparelli, outpacing Schiaparelli as well. Schiaparelli having a really good race here as well. I cannot tell you how unlucky he was in Division 1 of League of Europe on Saturday. If you go and watch that race back on the League of Europe channel, trust me, Schiaparelli was so unlucky. He got caught in a bit of a spin, and this is now his defining moment here in TTML, because he's going to pick up a podium, and this is him on a good day, I can tell you that now. Coginio in 4th, Armady in 5th, and Armady is trying to get closer to the back of Coginio as well. It's 1.3 seconds the gap. We are about to start the final lap of the race, so we see Medium Pilot come through the highest point on the track, coming through turns 9, 10 and 11. And he'll come through turn 10 now, as I see on the mini-map. We'll continue to run on board with Armady though. Bianchi's 2.3 seconds off the back of his teammate. Can he possibly pick up that P6 as well out on track? As we now ride on board with the champion-elect. Coming around the final corner, he could pull over to the side of the road and still win this race, to be honest, Medium Pilot. I don't recommend he does that, though. He's got one more lap to go until he is crowned TTML Division 1 champion. He's run out of EOS, running down the straight, but he wants to go for it. And now Medium Pilot sets a new personal best, 10th and a half quicker than what he set before. And he's coming through on his lap of honour, essentially, 10.5 seconds out in front of Carlsbury. Schiaparelli trying to get a little bit closer. He's not going to be close enough, I don't think. Coginio and Armady running in 4th and 5th as well, but it's been pure domination, I think, as Killer Blue has gone off track, and he's reset to track there, coming through turn 12 again. Takes a Kimi Räikkönen excursion, and Coginio's made a mistake coming out of turn 3, and now this is Armady's opportunity to go side by side with him. Has he got enough EOS left? He hasn't. Coginio will hang on for P4, but Armady runs wide. He's just letting the tyres go slightly. Bianchi is now through, of course, on Killer Blue, so he picks up into 6th position. Armady, though, still trying to hammer away at Coginio. We're in the final embers, really, of this lap, as Armady will come back on board with in just a second, but Medium Pilot now comes around the final corner, and Medium Pilot is going to be your TTML Division 1 champion for this season. Round the final corner, across the line, Medium Pilot is the TTML Division 1 champion. It's a fantastic win, a dominant lights the flag victory, and he takes the win. From Carlsbury in second, Coginio's made a mistake coming through the middle sector. Has he got a puncture, perhaps? Coginio, let's have a look. He has. He's got a rear right puncture, I think. He's got a rear right puncture, and now Bianchi is going to take P5 of him, surely. And it's so unfortunate for Coginio. Killer Blue as well is not going to take... he might do. Actually, Coginio, I think, has run out of fuel as well running down the straight. He's trying to get that car home. Schiaparelli finished 3rd, Armady 4th, Bianchi in 5th, Coginio to the line. Killer Blue is closing in. I don't think it's going to be enough. And in fact, it's not, but... Oh, and a little bit of crash there. Perpetuum gets Legend across the line as well. There we go. A lot of contact coming across the line. Perpetuum drops down into P9. Ligo will have to take that end of the race in. Driver of the day is Carlsbury, but your man of the moment and your championship winner, it is Medium Pilot. As hopefully we'll take you through the podium celebrations. And here he is, to the top step of the podium. Medium Pilot takes the win out on track. Carlsbury finishing in second. And a fantastic race as well from Chapelli to pick up P3. But the man of the moment, crown champion here in TTML Division 1, it's Medium Pilot. And it's his night here in Brazil. As we see the end of the podium celebrations, a fantastic win for Medium Pilot, and he wraps up the championship, leaves the session. Might not get to conduct an interview with him, but hopefully we will. Medium Pilot takes the win out on track. Carlsbury from 9th on the grid up to 2nd. A stoic performance from Carlsbury. He takes my driver of the day vote, certainly. Chapelli in 3rd with Armadi finishing in 4th. Bianchi finishing in 5th. He took the fastest lap point as well, so he gets an extra point for that, and no penalties either, so well done to Bianchi. No penalties as well to Carlsbury and to Legend, so well done to all of them. Legend from 10th on the grid up to 6th. Killer Blue finishing in 7th. Cagino in 8th. How almighty, he didn't get that puncture. I did warn Kieran that there might be a puncture towards the end. Another prediction that I got right. Cagino 8th. Perpetuum, not his day at all. It was unlikely for him to try and get a run at the title. Even down in towards turn 1, it looked unlikely, and unfortunately for Perpetuum, he finished in 9th, and Navy does not pick up that final point, those final 10 points actually in P10, because he didn't finish as a human car. He left the session halfway through, and he doesn't pick up the points for being in 10th position. But that is the end. What I'm going to do, Tom, if you don't mind, if we can cut obviously to the screens, we'll announce obviously the season 2 calendar in due course, but what I will try and do is I'll get in the top 3 for podium interviews, and that's what I'm going to do behind the scenes. You will still hear me, I hope, on the stream, and I will get in the man of the moment, Medium Pilot, who is there, and obviously Carlsbury and Chapelli were the two who finished in P2 and P3. So I'll try and get them in as well. I might have mistaken Carlsbury's name, actually. So I'll just try and go back on the stream to confirm his spelling. It's a double A. That's what I'm missing there. It's very hard to do this and to try and speak you through, obviously, all the graphics that are coming up. But a fantastic win from the man of the moment, the brilliant Medium Pilot out on track. And hopefully we will see him next season, of course, in TTML. I do believe he has signed up to the league, so hopefully that is going to be the case. I'm just sending out the final invite now to FRL_Chapelli, and if you thought spelling Carlsbury's names was bad, Chapelli's is even worse. So I'll try and be quick as I can. And there we go, I've got him up. So hopefully these 3 will be able to join me in the commentary box to take you through to get some podium interviews from the top 3. If not, we'll try and conduct them, of course, in time for the Division 2 stream, and I'll tell you what that happens. But in the meantime, while we wait for these guys to join, you can get yourself and have a look at the calendar for this season, for Season 2 up and coming. And Bahrain is the first track from week commencing the 20th of October. As, in fact, we'll run you through that in just a second, as we've got the P3 man out on track, Chapelli, here within the commentary box. Good evening, Chapelli, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
You're very good, and P3 there out on track in Brazil. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, the first stint was pretty slow, had a few half spins here and there, and then the second stint I was just trying to coast a bit. Because I knew Carlsbury didn't have a pen, so I tried to get away at one point, but he kept with me, and yeah.
Yeah, Carlsbury had really good pace, I think, out on track. Did that worry you at any point within that race?
I thought I was gonna pull away. Then I tried it, and he stayed with me, and yeah, then I knew I didn't have a chance anymore. And just let him through at the end.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately Carlsbury was on the pace and pretty much like a rash that couldn't go away, I think is the best way I could describe it, to be honest. But a P3 for you out on track, I would say how are you looking forward to next week? But there is no next week. We're done for the season. Overall, though, out on track, how do you think you've performed this season?
Well, I was only in 2 races, I think. Yeah, last race was alright, I guess. And this week, nah, I bottled too much.
But it's good to see you having good luck for once rather than League of Europe. But thank you so much for Schiaparelli for joining me in the commentary box. Go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thank you for commenting.
No worries. And we also have the man for P2 here, Carlsbury, the man that I described as the rash that couldn't go away on Schiaparelli. Carlsbury, first of all, are you here? And second of all, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you. Had to take over from Kieran in the last part of that race, but we got the stream there in the end. Good race from you. You were really on the pace tonight. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, it was actually a really good race. Lots of battles, and in the end I got the P2, so nice day.
Yeah, I was really surprised actually at your pace here tonight. I thought Brazil might be a track that doesn't really excel for you, but you seemed to just knock that on the head, and you were right on the pace with Schiaparelli, and in the end you got second, which I think is the best result you've had in TTML this season.
Yeah, I had a league race a couple of weeks ago, so I knew how to maximize the lap times and the racecraft. So yeah, it was a good result, and yeah, this season has been kind of, I don't know, mismatch, but it's a nice result for the last race.
Yeah, it is a shame it is the last race of the season, but on a whole, you came into tonight with 52 points. You took that, I think, to 77 points by the end of this race. How, for you, was the season overall?
Yes, like I said, kind of mismatch. Couple DNFs and bad results, but it's a good momentum for the next season.
Do you think without those DNFs you would have been higher up in the season, higher up in the positions?
Yeah, just well, my own performance from the other races combined could do better on all fronts.
Yeah. But anyways, very good result from you here tonight. I'll let you go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. And with Medium Pilot not being here, we'll try and conduct an interview with him at a later date. But with Carlsbury and Schiaparelli having those podium interviews, hopefully you did like those podium interviews. And if you did, do like, comment, subscribe. Take that notification bell, of course, if you are new to the League Racing TV channel, not the League of Europe channel, as I was about to say there. Season 2 calendar starts us off on the course on the 20th of October. Bahrain is the first race of the season, with China second, Spain in third. Hopefully that graphic will come up for you now. And a big, I will urge everybody to get involved in those practice lobbies as well. They run at 7 PM UK time throughout the season. It will improve you, and if you get a final bit of practice in before the race, that can be the difference between you either winning the race or finishing 5th or finishing 10th. All the points are still going to be there available, and I think it's a really good calendar for the guys out on track for Season 2. And also, we have got TTML roles available as well. Now, I'm not sure if this graphic will come up, but we have got TTML roles, and you can see there in the boardroom that I'm going to be your head commentator for next season of TTML for TTML. It is a massive honour to be head commentator for you guys next season, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity. But we have got vacancies as a Division 1 admin and also stewards within TTML and Formula 2. So if you are interested, at TTML_F1 on Twitter, if you do want to go that. And I highly recommend you get involved with the admin team, because it is the best thing you can possibly do to shape the future of TTML going forward. And also, announcement 2 coming up for you guys. Schumacher Series is going to be taking over from the Formula 2s on a Wednesday night. Now, this calendar has just literally been announced, and I've got this hot off the press. So, Belgium is round 1, 8 PM on the 21st of October, which is a Wednesday. Then, because of Mini League, because of Esports Masters League, we have a week's break. Then in Brazil, it's the 4th of November, the day before Bonfire Night as well, so there might be fireworks there in Brazil. Britain, in the 1995 British Grand Prix, 11th of November for 2020. And Japan, 2000, for the 2000 Japanese Grand Prix, going to be played out on the 18th of October. All of those races can be, of course, found on the League Racing TV channel. But to spare Tom, I'm going to end off the stream here, and I'm sure it's been a long night for us all. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to Kieran McGinley, of course, for his hard work this season, and I'm sorry that he had to do a disappearing act on you halfway through that stream. But thank you so much for watching here, TTML Division 1. Remember, Division 2 and 3 live on Thursday night. Myself and Ivor Bryn Mike going to be taking you through Division 2. Aidan Carter and Conti going to be taking you through Division 3. Division 4 and 5 also going to be from Brazil. And that, of course, is going to be Graham Chappell and Corboy going to be taking you through Division 4. And Division 5 will be myself and Daka taking you through that one. But TTML Formula 2 tomorrow night as well. It's going to be quite exciting in Russia for round 9 of the championship. So tune in then. But thank you so much for tuning in to TTML Division 1 tonight. And thank you so much for watching. And until next time, stay safe, everyone. Goodbye.
Darling, I've been tempted by the darkness, telling me that I should throw it all away. Fight so hard, my heart is hardly helpless. Find myself so desperate on my knees to break. And I hear the voice of an angel telling me not to lay it down. And I feel the spirit guiding, telling me not to give up. Hold on to every promise I've been praying for at night. I hold on to every garment, won't surrender, not tonight. The shadow rises and I walk through the valley, but I won't let nothing take my heart away. I recognize the powers as they rally, golden names, I break them one by one and face to face. And I hear the voice of an angel telling me not to lay it down. And I feel the spirit guiding, telling me not to give up. Hold on to every promise I've been praying for at night. I hold on to every garment, won't surrender, not tonight. Won't surrender, not tonight. Won't surrender, not tonight.